Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of UHS Presents. And today we're doing Critical Affection again, and we're gonna crap on a movie we love. So joining me this week is not Julie, who usually does Critical Affection with me, but Laurie. Hi, Laurie.
Hey.
A cat hair flew up my nose. See, I had Jeffrey set up a fan for me so that I could not roast to death back here, and now it's blowing all the cat hair.
Blowing the cat hair.
Which is not really something that I expected to happen. So, what are you gonna do? Okay, anyways, let's not talk about my personal problems. And so, okay, tonight we are affectionately criticizing The Karate Kid, which you probably noticed if you saw the thumbnail. But before we do that, we're gonna jump into some new UHS news review. Let's see here. I was at CoolieCon this weekend in La Crosse, Wisconsin. It was fun, and I was very happy to see all my con friends and all my fellow artists and vendors. But the sight of my hind would suggest that being very sick of not going, I was very sick of not going to cons, and I'm sick of not anything. But I think that maybe we shouldn't go to cons and stuff until the COVID thing is done, because there were a lot of little children without masks there, and sickness, this whole thing, like it's just completely avoidable. And it what has been this entire year and a half now, it's been entirely avoidable this whole time. So I think maybe I'll just stay home. As much as I'd love to go to another convention, I think I might just stay home. And
yeah, I feel like cons just aren't taking the proper precautions either. Like,
yeah,
not like one would expect.
Yeah, there were like it's as a con coordinator, I can see the dilemma, because like the coordinator for this con, he couldn't make people, like he could say you can't come in unless you're wearing a mask, but it's not something that you can really enforce, so it's tough. And you always run the risk of some zealot coming and freaking out in your face if you try to enforce it, and you try to tell them you can't come in without a mask, even though it's perfectly within the right of the coordinator to tell them that, to say you can't come in. But what are you gonna do?
I think at this point they shouldn't let people in unless they have a vaccine card. But maybe I'm
well, then you're gonna get those zealots that are like, you can't force me to show you my private details, even though that is another thing that is 100% protected by law. Like, I can totally, as a business person or a con coordinator, I can absolutely ask you to, like, you can't come in without your vaccine card. And then there's those a-holes who are forging the shit. Like, just go get the vaccine. You're not going to turn into a lizard person. You're not going to start worshiping Satan. You're not going to start liking your steaks cooked well done. I mean, it's going to be fine. We're both vaccinated, and I haven't grown any weird parts or anything.
I'm not dead, I don't think.
Wouldn't that be cool if that was so, if we were dead and we didn't know it, and we were just hosting a live stream dead every single week, just dead live stream. Anyways, okay, so all that being said, I did have fun at CoolieCon. I was very happy to see my friends, and I came back with, I talked to a couple people there who have skills and knowledge, and most importantly, I think, the willingness to work with a unhinged space cadet like me, which means they're definitely going to be willing to work with Laurie, because she's got, her brains aren't full of bees, and so, like, mine are full of bees all the time. And so if they're willing to work with me, then I know they're going to work with Laurie. So I'm not going to disclose any specifics about what that all was about, but it's going to be awesome. So stay tuned for that stuff in the future. Laurie, you've got some hot brass news, right?
Yeah. Hot Brass was sent off to print, actually. Comic Impressions is taking care of that for us. I'm hoping to get I have all of the Hot Brass merch and all of that stuff. We just need the books. And I'm hoping to get them by the end of the month and then just immediately ship them out. And then the Surgeon 4 is almost done being lettered, and we should be sending it to the printer this week. I also already have all the merch and stuff from that campaign. So again, it's just the books. That'll hopefully also be done in a couple of weeks, and we just ship them right out. And then I wanted to mention too, I think you guys at this point realize that in October we're going to be doing a Kickstarter for Miss Medusa's Monstrous Menagerie, which of course we have to run around Halloween because, like, come on.
That would be a huge mistake on our part if we didn't run it at Halloween.
It would be stupid. It would be
So stupid.
It would be illegal. Yeah. But and this is the first time I'm mentioning this really publicly. In September, I believe we will be running a short 2-week campaign for the art of Ian Richardson. So we're actually doing a whole art book for him. It's going to be like 150 pages of artwork that he's never published or had up anywhere. And as you guys know, he's the artist on Unthinkables for us, but like he's also like he's the artist for Judge Dredd, and he works for Marvel. He's worked for Marvel UK, and he's done Iron Man and Captain America for them, and he's worked for Dark Horse and Zenoscope, and like this is a fucking awesome art book. So if you guys like art books at all and you like Marvel or any characters really at all, this should be for you.
I love art books. I actually haven't I did have an art book right here. Lois H. art book. Jeffrey got it for me for my Christmas, I think. Ooh, I wanted to say back to the CooleyCon thing. I got this book. It's called The Widow Brigade, and it's by Douglas Van Dyke Jr. And I'm gonna read it hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I'm pretty busy, so it might take me a week or two to get through it, but I liked the premise a lot. It's essentially a widow, a woman gets a dwarf woman gets widowed via a war with humans, and she gets pissed off, and so like and she like recruits other widows of the war to fight back. So like the premise, I was like, this is really cool sounding, so I have to have this book, and it really wasn't very expensive. I think it was only $15, and I feel like a dick because I just remembered that I wanted to mention Douglas's book here because he's written like a crap load of books. So he has a bunch of them. But if you go to Amazon and Google, go to Amazon and search Douglas Van Dyke Jr. See, that's his name right there. There it is, Douglas Van Dyke Jr. You search it, you'll get all of his stuff. He does a lot, and he's I don't know how he pronounces his world's name. It's Dhea Laurel, and I don't know how he pronounces it. But yeah, if you go and find, like, just search those things, and you'll find the stuff if you're interested too. And then when I'm done reading it, I'll try to remember to do a quick book review before or whatever show I should happen to finish it before. So, alrighty. So, was that all of our news then? Yeah, we got that all on the way. Cool. We got Katie in here. Hey, Katie. And we've got Astian, who is, again, always, he says, gosh, sorry, technical issues on my end too. I made it. And I thought as I was reading that, oh my gosh, what if he doesn't come to a show? That would be unprecedented at this point. He's seen like all of them, and I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't see little tiny emoticons that I can't actually decipher in the chat. I don't know why it doesn't show those bigger. Like, this is our StreamYard. We use that as our interface, and it just doesn't. It shows everything. All those are tiny, and I just
they're so tiny.
And I bet they're even smaller for you, Laurie, because you're using your Surface, right?
Yeah.
So and I've got like a 27-inch screen here, and I can't see them. So yikes! That looks like maybe a pony. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so hard to see. On my end, it looks like a little anime girl with a mustache. Like, I can't. It's really hard to see.
Yeah, I can't see it. It's so tiny. I could go to Twitch and do that, but I'm afraid that I'll blow up the internet because it's just misbehaving today. I keep getting the little thingy that says I've got a bad connection. She's hugging a heart, he said. Okay, that's cool. Okay, let's get back to it. So, in case you missed the last episode of Critical Affection, it is available to watch on YouTube and Facebook until we decide to delete it, and on Twitch for another week, I think. So you can go check it out there, as you can go check out any episodes of UHS Presents. And I'm trying to keep all of the UHS Presents on YouTube organized so that you can see that they're like topic episodes or they're Critical Affection and the UHS versus the trailers. So I'm trying to keep that all tidy for you guys, but I'm not very good at keeping things tidy, which you would know if I move this camera like a quarter of an inch to the left or right. So I just do my best, and you'll have to just roll with it, I guess. I don't know. So, all right, it should go without saying, but if you have not seen The Karate Kid, and honestly, at this point, if you haven't, that is so very on you. But if you haven't, then I am obliged to warn you. Because we're going to spoil it. Well, I just got some feedback from you, I think. He's okay, so he's in the Discord now, posting the emoticons so that we can see him. So, all right, let's go. The Karate Kid premiered in theaters June 22nd, 1984. It currently has an 89% critical rating and an 82% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is pretty fair, actually. Yeah, I mean, that seems good. What do you think? Seem good?
You said 82?
Yeah, it's got an 89% critical rating, 82% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So, I mean, I think that's fair, I guess.
That seems high to me. To me, it feels like, okay. To me, it's like an average movie. Like, people act like it's kind of like this, like, amazing, like, jaw-dropping, I don't know. Like, we can get into it later if you want, but, like, just compare to other 80s movies. Like,
that's what this is for.
Yeah. Compared to other 80s movies, like 60 is like average. Like, I would probably give it a 60. Like, it's not terrible, but like, is it really great? Like, would I watch it 17 more times? Not really. Like,
I think for us, like with the scores, I think that the 82% for the audience, because it's a fun movie to watch. It's fun, despite the racial slurs and the misogyny.
Right.
It is a fun movie, but 89% for a critical rating does seem high because critics are supposed to be critical. And and for what you said, like it definitely for critical rating should probably have a lower score, at least a lower score than the audience score. But I feel like the audience score is on point there, because if you're just watching it to enjoy a movie, it's a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
I do have to say though, for me, there's a lot of bullying in it, so for me, it's a little bit also like traumatizing. So it's like it makes me remember high school, and I didn't get bullied the way that Daniel LaRusso got bullied, but I got bullied, so it makes me feel kind of like, oh, I don't like that. So
it's kind of triggering, right?
Yeah, it can be triggering. Absolutely, that's the word I was looking for. You nailed it. I like to pick out fun little stuff about about random anything that strikes me as amusing for each movie, if I can think of it. If I I just started that because we just started doing movies. So anyway, the film stars Ralph Macchio as Daniel. Pat, it's Noriyuki. Noriyuki, he goes by Pat, and the reason that they put Noriyuki in there, that's his like given first name, because he was born in America, but his parents were not. So he has a Japanese. They gave him a Japanese name, but he always went by Pat. And when he was billed in Happy Days, he was always Pat Morita. But the producers on The Karate Kid told him to put Noriyuki in there, which is his given name, because it would, and I'm not making this up, and I am quoting directly, it would sound more ethnic. So I was like, backstage racial slur, kind of almost. So yeah, I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know. It's a thing. Oh, Katie said, I'm dragging myself away from the Wheel of Time audiobooks, to which I'm slightly addicted to watch you guys. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And Astian says, nostalgia glasses effect in regards to the high score of Karate Kid. Yes, probably. That's, definitely. I think that, well, we'll talk about how it aged after we're done here, but so let me finish reading my little interesting facts. Some of the other actors who were considered for the role of Daniel were Sean Penn, Robert Downey Jr., Charlie Sheen, and his brother, Emilio Estevez. That would have been fun if they would have had like a sibling rivalry about who got to be Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Nicolas Cage, which would have been fucking awesome. Anthony Edwards, who I think was one of the Breakfast Club kids. C. Thomas Howell, who I actually had to look up. Tom fucking Cruise wanted to be
Wow.
Daniel. And Eric Stoltz, who was in that, he was probably that guy that you didn't know the name of in whatever movie you happen to be watching, because I think he's like got like short reddish hair, and he's kind of a generic, generically handsome white guy. So he's
So how
probably
did they end up picking Ralph Macchio out of all of those people?
Okay, let me make sure I'm not talking out my ass here, because I need to go back to my notes here. But because I remember them saying that he played in The Outsiders. He was in the movie The Outsiders. That's what it was.
Oh.
And they liked him in that so much, like that influenced their decision to cast him over all of these other people.
Okay.
So I guess that was cool. And I'm reading these other notes here. Like Macchio said that the name of Daniel, his last name was actually Weber, and then when Italian Ralph Macchio walked in, they changed it because they were like, "This is the guy, and we're changing it."
It's not going to work. Right. Okay. That's cool.
An Italian kid can be from, he's not from the Bronx, but he's from New Jersey, which is Bronx adjacent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I live in Middle America, so. Anywho's, let's see. Mr. Miyagi, the role was originally meant for Toshiro Mifune. I don't know how to say his last name, sorry. But he could not take the role, and I cannot stress this enough. He could not take the role because he could not fucking speak English. They wanted a guy who could not speak English to be Mr. Miyagi. Like, it's an English American blockbuster movie, and they tried to cast a guy who couldn't speak English. What?
I guess they could have taught him some English, and it would have like felt maybe more authentic, like they wanted this feeling of this. But also, this man has been in America for the character of Mr. Miyagi has been in America for a long time, we assume.
Yeah, he was actually. We'll get into that. He was a World War II vet, and he fought for the Allied forces. He fought for America, not Japan.
Right.
Did you catch? I said Paul Henson is here. He said hi. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah, don't know. He could not speak English, whatever. And this is in looking back, it's like, holy shit, because Pat Morita was born for the role of Mr. Miyagi. Like, he nailed that. He is the best actor in the whole movie, as far as I'm concerned. I think he is the best. And he was dismissed multiple times for this role because the powers that be, while making the movie, they thought that they had him typecast in their minds as a comedic actor because he did stand-up comedy, and he was I can't remember his name of the character in Happy Days, but he was a funny guy, a funny restaurant owner in Happy Days, and they were like, no, you can't do this, you only do comedy. So what Pat Morita did was he grew the facial hair, he grew the iconic Mr. Miyagi facial hair, and he adopted his uncle's accent, his uncle who had immigrated from Japan, and then went in and auditioned again, and they were like, yep, this is Mr. Miyagi, you got it. And I wonder if they knew that they had to know, right? They had to know it was Pat Morita. And he's like, yeah, see, bitches, I told you, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, because he's incredible. Like, he makes the movie. If he wasn't in it, it would be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that there is no set, because there are other people who review movies and do podcasts like that are similar in nature to this. They'll say it wouldn't have been the same movie without this person in that role, and it's like, well, fucking duh, it wouldn't have been the same movie. But also, I would never say that nobody else could have done that role and been good. Like, I can't. There's not very many roles out there that I would say this movie would have sucked if anybody other than this guy was the character. So, and I think that the reason that Pat Morita was the only choice for Mr. Miyagi is because he was like, there just wasn't that many Japanese actors that were actually Japanese. There was a lot of white people dressing as Japanese people. You know, it was still very racist in the 80s.
Right.
And so I think that's it's good that they actually cast a Japanese guy for the role of a Japanese guy, but
I think that
excuse me.
Pat Morita's Miyagi is also like it's been influential on other characters like Uncle Iroh.
Oh, very much.
I'm pretty sure he's just based on him. Like
yeah, but he's definitely He's like, what if Mr. Miyagi was a little bit more boisterous and also fatter,
right?
and really liked tea and music.
Miyagi drinks tea.
He does, but he's not obsessed with it like Uncle Iroh is.
Just give him a couple years. That's all it is. Like it's Miyagi a couple years down the line. Like
that's fair. I'll give you that one. This one I side note because the other couple of main characters, it's Ralph Macchio. So it's Daniel, Mr. Miyagi, Allie Mills, Johnny the bad guy, and Kreese, which is Martin Covey or Martin Cove. I'm not sure how you say that name because I've never actually heard it spoken, which is crazy, especially with Cobra Kai being up in the top right now. I have never heard that guy's name said out loud, so I feel like a dick for not knowing, but what are you gonna do? It's too late to fix it now. But anyway, Crispin Glover was considered for the role of Johnny. Imagine that, if you will, for a moment. Crispin Glover.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see it. Ralph Macchio said that William Zabka scared the shit out of him when he came and auditioned as Johnny. He scared the shit out of him. So, I mean, he definitely did a good job for the part, but I think they would have had to dye Crispin Glover's hair blonde because those boys are like they're Aryan princess and they needed to all be blonde haired.
Yeah, they're like they're so creepy.
So bad. Like, it's so bad. Yeah, it was like super. Like they never actually say the word Nazi, but they're Nazis. And Demi Moore auditioned for the role of Allie, but like unfortunately, Allie's kind of a throwaway character. You could take her out of the movie almost completely. And the only thing you really would need was some reason for Johnny to start bullying. Like Allie was the reason Johnny started bullying Daniel, and that was the only reason that was if you just find a different reason, which there are a million. So
she's just like a plot device, basically.
Yeah, she's there to be the token girl.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks. So, but what are you gonna do? It's too late. I was 2 years old in 1984. I couldn't have done a thing about it. Okay, we're Julie and I keep doing this too. Like we start bitching about it before we get to the plot synopsis. This is not how you do this. All right, let's do this. Okay, everybody, get ready for me to stop speaking English and start speaking nonsense. Plot synopsis. Teenager Daniel LaRusso moves with his mother from New Jersey to Reseda, Los Angeles, California. When arriving at their new apartment, Daniel meets his apartment complex's handyman, a quiet and kind Japanese immigrant named Mr. Miyagi. At a beach party, Daniel befriends Allie Mills, a popular girl at his new school, which draws the ire of Allie's ex-boyfriend, Johnny Lawrence, who is also the top student from Cobra Kai martial arts dojo, where he studies a brutal and aggressive form of karate. Johnny and his buddies viciously bully Daniel on multiple occasions. At a Halloween party, Daniel decides to spray Johnny with a water hose, and Johnny and his gang chase him out of the party and catch him just before he reaches his home, where they beat the shit out of him. Miyagi intervenes and easily sends Johnny and his buddies running. Daniel is grateful and amazed, and he asks Mr. Miyagi to teach him karate. Initially, Mr. Miyagi declines, being unwilling to teach him how to hurt other people, but he does agree to accompany Daniel to the Cobra Kai dojo to speak with Johnny and his sensei. They meet the sensei, John Kreese, who is a military veteran who encourages violence with his students and dismisses Miyagi's attempts to make peace between Daniel and Johnny. Miyagi then suggests that they settle their differences by competing at the All Valley Karate Championship tournament, where Daniel can battle Johnny and the other goons on equal terms. Miyagi also insists that Johnny and his gang stop bullying Daniel until the tournament so that he can train, to which Kreese agrees on the condition that both Miyagi and Daniel will suffer more harassment if Daniel fails to show up to the tournament. I need a drink. I'm all drunk. You know, you spend two days straight shouting at people through the din of a con, and suddenly your vocal cords don't work. Okay. Daniel begins his training by completing chores for Miyagi that he begins to resent until Miyagi demonstrates that the chores help strengthen his ability to perform defensive blocks. Miyagi and Daniel develop a friendship and share stories of their lives with one another. As Daniel matures under Miyagi's mentorship, he also develops a romantic relationship with Allie. The tournament day arrives, and Daniel surprisingly reaches the semifinals. Johnny easily advances to the finals as expected. Sensei John Kreese instructs another Cobra Kai student, Bobby, to injure Daniel with an illegal attack to stop Daniel from making it to the finals. Bobby is disqualified for the move, and Daniel is taken to the locker room to be seen by the physician on site after Bobby injures his knee badly, and the physician tells him that he should not continue with the tournament. Daniel insists that he must finish, and he convinces Miyagi to help him continue the tournament with his little, like, whatever that is, pain suppression, whatever.
I'd like to address that at some point, because
we'll get there. Yes, I would like to talk about that with you as well. I know you have theories. You have things to say. So Daniel gets back to the ring just before he's disqualified for his injury, and he and Johnny begin their competition, with Daniel surprisingly earning the first 2 points. The match is momentarily halted when Johnny gets a bloody nose, and while they're tending to the bloody nose, Kreese tells Johnny to attack Daniel's injured leg, which is super unethical but not technically illegal. Johnny is horrified, but he agrees, and he injures Daniel more. Daniel uses the stance that Miyagi demonstrated on the beach called the crane technique and manages to kick Johnny in the face to score the winning point. Johnny, seemingly gaining sudden respect for Daniel, presents the trophy to Daniel as Daniel is carried off by the excited crowd, and Miyagi watches on with pride. Finn. All right, Laurie, I know you have thoughts. What are your opening thoughts? Your opening affectionate criticisms for the Karate Kid?
I'm trying to think. I guess, and I realized this, like, probably, I guess, halfway through the movie, is that, like, this whole movie is based on kind of him training to face this kid. But, like, if he didn't do well, like, if he just got fucked up in the first round, he would never have faced the kid, and, like, the whole movie would go down the drain. Like, it's like I feel like it's like a plot hole that, like, they basically assumed that Daniel would get to the finals to face Johnny.
Yes, and I have had that same thought every time that I've watched this movie since I was like 16 years old. I don't know how many times you've seen this movie, particularly in the past 20 years. This
is the first time in a while for me.
Yeah, I've watched it sporadically through the years. When it was on TV, I would, like, on TNN or whatever, I'd be like, oh sure, let's watch Karate Kid. And I always thought that, I was like, what if Daniel had lost in the first round? Then they would have kept harassing him. And I feel like I gotta say, maybe it's cynical, but I think that they would have kept harassing him even though he won. I bet he got harassed anyway.
Right.
I mean, it's like the next couple of movies would certainly suggest that Daniel's kind of a fucking magnet for bullies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. A bug just flew into my eyeball.
Are you okay?
That wasn't nice at all. I think the mascara on my eyelashes got him though, because it just, like, it touched for a second. Ugh. Ew. Anywho's,
you're supposed to block the flies with your wax on,
wax off.
Or catch them with chopsticks. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I don't have any chopsticks here. I do have a couple of paintbrushes. You could use paintbrushes. That would work. Let me catch up on the comments here quickly. Paul said Miyagi was my absolute favorite. He made the best iconic character. Yeah, I think that he's damn near perfect. I think there's like one line, I think, in particular that gets me about what Miyagi's whole character, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I can tell by the way you're nodding. But mostly, yeah, he's the only completely redeemable character in this movie. I mean, I guess you could make the argument that mom, Mrs. LaRusso.
He just snuck his face in there.
Trying to burrow into my armpit. Hi, Jack. Yeah, so I guess you could make the argument that Mrs. LaRusso is cool too, but even she's kind of a piece of shit for not discussing a move across the entire fucking country. Like, what is that? 2,000 miles and some change at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like she's just like, we're moving and that's what's happening. She didn't, like, he was very, like, he made it clear after the second or third time he got the shit kicked out of him by Johnny and his boys that he did not want to move. Oh, he's back. So yeah, Mr. Miyagi, aside from that one line, is basically perfect.
Yeah.
And Katie said nobody likes tea as much as Uncle Ira, which, yes, I agree. Nobody. Yeah. And Paul said Asian of any ethnicity could be Asian, and that is true. But they specifically cite Mr. Miyagi as Japanese, though, so it would have been wrong of them to. I guess it would have been less shitty of them to cast Asian of any other country as Mr. Miyagi than it would be to cast a white guy. But Japanese, I mean, Mr. Miyagi was definitely, Pat Morita was the right choice.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it was ideal because culturally he's already familiar with.
Yeah, even though he was born in America, he was Japanese. He was Japanese to, like, he was born to Japanese immigrants. So yeah, he definitely was the right choice. And excuse me. And not only is he Japanese, but like his family is from Okinawa. So, and Mr. Miyagi cites Okinawa often throughout the series. So he definitely, yeah.
He very poorly explains where it is.
Yeah. Japan here, Okinawa here, like up in the air. And it's like, what? That's like saying Britain here, Spain here. Like, it's the
close
Africa
enough,
here,
right? Like
Madagascar here. Like, what? Okay, whatever. The whole movie is so fast. Yeah, I think that movie. That's one of the non-criticisms I have to say about the movie is that it has a good clip all the way through. It's a 2-hour movie too, so I mean, it's not a short movie, but it doesn't feel like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah,
and I'm surprised that it's a 2-hour movie because most 80s movies were like an hour and a half tops. And yep, everybody saw the cat. Another gravy. He's
There's just kind of a stripe of cat at the bottom of your screen right now. You can't even tell it's a cat. It's just like a gray stripe. Oh, there you go.
There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
He's I don't know. He's been very needy lately. I think I guess because I left him with that monster Jeff for 2 whole days, and they weren't having it.
They'll never forgive you.
Well, I mean, he seems to be forgiving, but who knows? We're not talking about the Karate Kid at all. No, we're just going to talk about the cat for the rest of the episode. Okay, so at the beginning of the movie, Daniel kicks the gate open while he's wheeling his bicycle and a suitcase into the courtyard of the apartment complex that they're moving into, and he just kicks the door open without looking at anything on the other side. Like, who the fuck does that? And I know you have something to say about this scene as well, right, Laurie? You pointed it out to me, so.
Yeah, it actually like detracted my attention from everything Daniel was doing because he meets this fucking kid. I don't even know the kid's name because I was so distracted.
Carl? Carl, yeah, fucking Carl.
Like, I don't even know his name because I was so distracted. This kid walks into the scene and he's wearing a shirt. And on the shirt is literally, guys, I'm not joking, watch it and you can stop it at this scene. He's wearing a shirt with 2 pigs having sex and it says making bacon. And it's just like clear, like they're not hiding it. They're not like, they don't care. This is the 80s. Like,
I bet that kid, like the kid and the costume designer, like thought they were sneaking it in and then nobody fucking noticed. I mean, that's amazing.
Like, I couldn't look anywhere else. They're
like hot pink piggies just banging on the. It's It's honestly, it's the best part of the movie. I think is that it's the best part of the movie that nobody noticed.
I
That's
feel
what
like
it
they
is.
needed to like have a reappearance of the shirt later on in the movie, like someone else was
Right?
wearing it or something. Like I
I
feel like that
know.
would have tied it together.
Yeah, Carl and Carl's buddies, they kind of end up sucking. Like in the first 10 minutes of the movie, we know they suck. And so Daniel goes to the beach party where he meets Allie. And okay, first of all, he spends an uncomfortably long time just leering at Allie. He just standing. Did you count how long he was standing there? And then he was like, not only was he doing that, he was like, I fucking her too. He was like, and like
Yeah.
he was trying to give his very best sexy eyes, and it just was creepy. So,
I guess
uh,
it's a blessing that they didn't cast Charlie Sheen then.
oh my god, why didn't they cast Crispin Glover as Daniel?
Oh goodness.
Daniel Weber. Daniel Weber, or they could have called him Daniel Willard. Oh, this was
Oh
pre Willard,
man.
wasn't it? Anyway. So yeah, so he spends just way too long staring uncomfortably at Allie, and you could see like even in the movie, like even though they were supposed to like make it look like Allie was into it, like she like Elizabeth, she was like she was looking back at the other girls, going, "What the fuck is this shit?" So even in the '80s, that was really creepy.
Well, I feel like 80s movies, like also like 80s movies in general, and kind of most of them had a bad vibe. They had this vibe of like, I'm derailing the topic for a second here, but they had this vibe of like, if you chase the girl long enough and you bother her enough times and you hold a boombox up outside of her window, she will change her mind and she will fall in love with you.
Yeah. And that's actually that was a trope that followed into the 90s too, because you remember all that string of movies about where a woman she's engaged and she's planning the wedding and they've put lots of money into this, and then on the wedding day the estranged boyfriend comes in while they're in the middle of the fucking ceremony and declares their love for the woman, and she's like, oh, I put all this expense and planning and time and thought into marrying this guy, but then this guy showed up at the last second while I was literally in the white dress with the priest and and my family and everything. You know what? You're right. I made a mistake. I'm going to go with you. And they all took it from that movie with Dustin Hoffman, where Dustin Hoffman does it. And I can't remember the name of the movie, but the rest of the movies never follow through. Because at the end of that Dustin Hoffman movie, he and the woman who I can't even remember her name, like she's not even important. It's him. It's all about him. And they run out of the church. They grab the first bus that's driving by, and they hop on, and they're all like excited. And then they sit down, and then they kind of like are like sitting looking away from each other, going, "What the fuck did we just do? Oh my god, what do we do now?" It's an uncomfortable and such a true moment, and that's what like they never, the rest of those movies where the bride runs off with the not the groom, they never address that part of it, which is absolutely exactly the thing that would happen if you did that in real life. You wouldn't. That's crazy, and nobody does that. Nobody. That's never happened in real life before. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah,
It's not with anybody I want to be friends with.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the Karate Kid mostly avoided this trope, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah, because like Johnny is a fucking stalker. Johnny is
Oh
a
yeah,
misogynistic pig stalker with Allie, and he sexually assaults her at least once in the movie, and he suffers zero consequences for it, except that he doesn't get the girl, which isn't a consequence.
right.
It's just, you lost, bro. Deal with it. But
I do like the fact that she's just like, please fuck off. Like she's just like,
yes,
she doesn't want to deal with him, which I
yeah, and
like.
she only one time does she placate him, and it's right at the very beginning, when they're at the beach, and he starts to immediately Daniel is this is why Carl's friends suck too, by the way. Nobody. Okay, so Johnny comes buzzing up on his motorcycle with his gang of goons, and Johnny grabs Allie's boombox from her, and she says, like, give it back to me, it's mine. And he's just trying. He's like, I want to talk to you. And she's like, I don't want to talk to you. Give me back my radio. And he's like, I won't give you back your radio until you talk to me. And that is how not to get a girl, by the way. But when she continues to refuse, he throws her radio on the ground and breaks it. And Daniel tries to come to her defense. He picks up the radio. He tries to give it back to her and lead her away from Johnny. Johnny responds by just immediately fucking kicking the shit out of Daniel. Like, he punches him a couple times, I think. And Daniel's kind of an idiot for getting back up after the first time. But, I mean, also, like, a brave idiot. So, I mean, because Johnny was 100% wrong. Like, Daniel was just trying to do the right thing. Like, Daniel was the only one who didn't suck in that particular scene there.
Right.
And then after Johnny fucks off, and then Johnny also, Allie, that was the thing. Like, Allie tries to stop Johnny from continuing to beat on Daniel by saying, just leave him alone. I will go with you and talk to you, but you need to leave him alone. Like, that's the one time she placates him with all his fuckery. And it was only to try and stop him from hurting Daniel, this guy that she'd never met. So, like, the only people that don't suck in this whole scene are Allie and Daniel. And Johnny, after he kicks Daniel down for the last time before he putters off in his motorcycle, she starts screaming at him and punching him in the shoulder, saying, why don't you hit me? Why don't you hit me? And then Johnny's like, this is your fault. It's your fault that I punched that kid that tried to help you. I was like, gross. So gross.
Yeah. And I think this is because I actually went into it watching it. I talked with you about this beforehand. Like, there's some fan theory that Daniel is actually the bad guy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into this watching it like with that in mind. And like, it's not. That it can't be interpreted that way. Like, no matter how hard you fucking try, like, Daniel is irritating and he's
kind of stupid,
rude, and kind of an idiot, but like, he's not a bad person. And the Cobra Kai kids are terrible. Like, they're fucking bad people. So I don't know who came up with that theory, but like, I'm pretty sure it was an incel, because like, it's not. Oh.
I know the word wasn't around in 1984, but yes, you hit the nail on the head there. Like it is all about, like, it was definitely written by a nice guy, TMCR. So somebody drank all my water.
Like, you can't really misinterpret it. Like, Johnny, first they initiate the fight against him, and then when the one time Daniel instigates something, he sprays water on the kid or whatever, but then they chase him with 5 kids and beat the shit out of him. Like, in no universe can you misinterpret it.
Yeah, they don't even allow him to fight back. One of them holds him while the other one beats the piss out of him. Like, they are wrong in any fucking universe. They are wrong.
Yeah.
There's
no interpretation of this. Like,
I would love it if it's too bad that we don't have, because of the people that are watching right now, I don't think any of them are those Daniel was the bad guy theorists. And I would love to have a talk with some of them, because explain to me in what fucking universe Daniel's the bad guy.
Yeah, please, I want to know.
Because I've heard that was a theory, but I have not actually seen any evidence to back it up. Like, I've seen evidence, but it's all shitty evidence that doesn't back it up. It's all that, non-evidence. And I mean, Kenneth says, yeah, but he got his joint wet, and that's bad guy shit.
That's some fucking Nazi precursors right there, is getting his joint wet, Like,
I mean, yeah, he did ruin his weed, but I mean, don't you think that you could just lay it out and dry it back up? I wouldn't think that would ruin it completely. And he fucked up his makeup, which was a shit thing to do, but
we know
take him to do that makeup.
We know that in the 80s, that kid owned a blow dryer.
Oh yeah.
For his weed.
And I bet his house, because he was like one of the rich kids that lived in, what did they say? I don't know the boroughs of Los Angeles, but I know Reseda is apparently where the poor kids live, because Allie's parents were assholes, and they said that they didn't want her seeing the boy from Reseda, which is where Daniel lived. But and Carl at the beginning refers to Allie as one of the hills, which is the rich girls, and Johnny is a rich kid too. So I bet his house had multiple ovens that he could have like gently warmed it and dried it out with too. And they live in fucking California, which is drier than a popcorn fart. So it's just fucking sit it outside for a couple hours. It would have been fine. It would have. You didn't have to beat the shit out of it. And I mean, if Mr. Miyagi hadn't shown up to save Daniel, they might have fucking killed him. Like, they would have absolutely. He would have had to go to the hospital for those injuries.
Oh, yeah.
He probably should have gone to the hospital for the injuries that he did sustain, but they might have legit killed him. Johnny was pissed off and he was going to take it out. He was going to beat on Daniel until he wasn't mad anymore. So, holy shit.
I mean, should we be concerned that Miyagi didn't bring him to a hospital? Is that weird?
I don't know. I think it's a product of its time in that respect. I think that, well, because insurance was going out of control and there was no Affordable Care Act to require that everybody have insurance and to
I keep forgetting this is a thing.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Miss Canadian, but you're in America now, and I bet Daniel didn't have good insurance, so he probably
he probably had no insurance. He just moved there.
So that kind of ties in. Miyagi, when he gets drunk on his wedding anniversary, and he, as in his drunken state, he explains to Daniel the story about why his wife is gone, and I'm sure we all know, he said he went off to fight in World War II for America, and this is very important. He went to fight for America, and the American government, thanked him by putting his fucking pregnant wife in a goddamn internment camp, and she gave birth there, and she died. Her and the baby died in childbirth, and as Mr. Miyagi is telling Daniel that, he kind of gets up and he sobs, and then he goes, "Land of free, home of brave, but no doctor came." And I was like, honey, that's the American healthcare system. It was the American healthcare system in World War II, and it's still the American healthcare system now. And it was probably even worse then, because even if we had real healthcare, they were Japanese.
Fuck.
And nobody fucking wanted to even be associated with Japanese people then, because World War II and racism and bullshittery. It was just it's complete horseshit, but that's what it was. And I can't do anything about it. I wasn't alive then. My mom wasn't alive then. But yeah, it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. And healthcare, and yeah, maybe Daniel probably should have gone to the hospital for because he could have had a concussion. I mean, they beat his head pretty bad, and he had that like multiple contusions on his face. So he definitely, he probably should have gotten a CAT scan or something. I mean,
yeah, but no, I mean, now that you explain it, it makes sense, and yeah, I think it's, now that you bring this up, because I didn't think about it. Like when Miyagi talks about it and that scene happens, I didn't think about it. But like, the Japanese internment in America is real. Like that shit happened. And like, I feel like a lot of people don't know that it happened, or they ignored that it happened, or whatever that may be.
It happened.
And it's interesting that they brought it up then.
Yes, I thought that was an extremely progressive moment in the movie. It was like, it's generally accepted by people who aren't pieces of shit that Japanese internment camps were a thing in this country. And it was happening at the same time that the Holocaust was happening, which is a thing that people fucking deny too, because the American education system is a failure. This is going to be a huge political thing, isn't it? Because the fucking Karate Kid.
It has deeper cuts than we thought it did. Like,
yeah, and this is all shit that I didn't think about until I've started bouncing it off of you here and in the comments. Katie just said a lot of people in 80s movies don't go to the hospital when they really should, and that's like especially Americans. I don't know about British, because we don't get a lot of British 80s movies over here. We don't, and so I assume that Katie, you're referring to British people as well. But in America, we to this day don't go to the doctor when we should. I mean, I spent the majority of my 20s not being treated for things that were very seriously affecting my health, because I didn't have insurance. And so,
I mean,
like,
as some people have pointed out, like Breaking Bad wouldn't exist. Like
mhm,
the plot of
it never
Breaking
would
Bad would
happen, yeah.
not function if
Which is
the
probably
healthcare
why it's not
system here was
popular in
good.
other countries. Like, nobody else in other countries gives a shit about Breaking Bad or even knows what it is. It's like, because it doesn't work in other countries.
Like, why didn't he just go to the fucking hospital? What the fuck?
Yeah,
Why is he taking
exactly.
meth? Like,
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how many people I've got stories. I've got a story of my own and stories of my friends and stories that I read about people who call an Uber or drive themselves to the hospital when they should absolutely be calling an ambulance. Like, I got a blood clot. I got a DVT in my leg. I drove with that leg to the hospital on my actually, I didn't drive to the hospital. I waited until 8 o'clock in the morning. It started happening to me hours in the middle of the night. And I waited hours in very serious pain for 8 o'clock to happen so that I could call the clinic and get an appointment for that day so that I didn't have to get that emergency room charge too. I mean, it's fucking crazy.
yeah.
And I should not have had to do that. People who have heart attacks drive themselves to the hospital because they don't want that $1,000 ambulance charge. That's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. And it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And to bring it back to the fucking Karate Kid, Daniel needed a goddamn x-ray and a CAT scan. He could have had a broken orbital bone. We didn't know. I mean, he could have dropped dead of an aneurysm that got jiggled when they kicked him right after the movie ended. We wouldn't have known if they hadn't made Karate Kid 2. I don't remember what Karate Kid 2 is when they go to Okinawa, and then Karate Kid 3 is when they come back and try to start the tree store, right? And they hire that guy that looks like a cut rate Steven Seagal. That was when Steven Seagal was super popular, so it wasn't Steven Seagal, but it was a guy that looked like him. It was crazier though, which, if you can believe it, crazier looking than Steven Seagal. I mean, and so yeah, that was fucked up. Let me see. Oh, can we address how Miyagi has this gorgeous, amazing fucking home that he built basically from the ground up all on his own? And then he never spends any time there. He sits in that shitty little workshop over at the apartment complex where he clearly, I mean, he spends tons of time because all of his bonsai stuff is there. And he was there late into the evening teaching Daniel how to trim a bonsai tree.
Yeah,
like,
I thought it was bizarre. Like,
yeah, he had this
probably the first half of the movie, you only see him. Like, for the first half of the movie, I assumed that he lived there. Like,
Me
I was
too.
like,
me too.
and then you were like, no, he has a house, and I was like, he does. And then you go to his house, and it's this beautiful house, and he's
It's
Daniel's
beautiful.
painting the fences, and he's doing all that shit, and you're like,
Yeah, he's got just miles of this beautifully curated backyard with like wooden walks, wooden boardwalks, and big wooden fences that are not placed there for privacy as much as like decorative purpose. Like, they're just, it's all gorgeous. And like, what the fuck is he doing spending all his time in that shitty workshop that has, I mean, did you see all like the cans, the random chemical cans packed up onto the wall when Daniel first comes into the workshop? It's like, I bet he had gotten like mesothelioma or something from that. Like, Mr. Miyagi almost certainly died before the year 2000. Like, I know Pat Morita himself actually passed away in like 2009, but Miyagi did not make it that far because he was spending way too much time in that shitty little shop with all those chemicals. He didn't do it. He couldn't have done it. So, and why? Like, there was no reason for it. I would be, if that was my house, I would be spending as little time at my job as possible. As a matter of fact, if that was my house, stop it. It's like headbutting me.
he looks so irritated too.
But he's a grumpy old man. He's 15 years old. Yeah, he's a grumpy old man. What was I saying? Oh,
if you lived in that house.
If I lived in that house, that was my house. God damn it. If that was my house, not only would I spend as little time as possible, I would not even go to the apartment complex unless I would be like, if you have a problem, call this number and I'll get back to you. I'll come fix it. And I would just only come when somebody had a problem. Because there's no way that he had to be there all day, every day. like from 9 to 5. He did. That was not no way. And why?
Yeah.
So, and why would you spend time at that shitty place? I mean, seriously.
And like nowadays his house is like a $500,000 house. Like,
oh God, in Los Angeles, his house is like a $5
forget
million
it.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very, like, I bet it was more than $5 million. I mean, that, whoo, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's no, don't spend time there. Katie said Breaking Bad was popular in the UK, but it would not have worked if it was set in the UK, which, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's obviously because you guys have, like, your government takes care of your people, kind of. I mean, I know they're trying to do the same shit to you as has been done to us, but... And she said, little old men spend a hell of a lot of time in sheds and workshops. And that's true, but he had sheds and workshops at his beautiful house, too. Why spend it at that shitty apartment? Like, they made it very clear that that apartment is a shitty apartment, and it's in a shitty part of Los Angeles, so...
Yeah, I think Kenneth hits the nail on the head. I think that's the reason. Yeah.
That's probably it. Kenneth said the people who lived at the complex needed help, and Mr. Miyagi is a helper, and he had no one to go home to. So yeah, that tracks. That's probably why. I mean, because he demonstrates that by, like, Daniel gets the second time that the gang, the Cobra Kai gang, attacks him, he's riding his bicycle home, and it's dark, and they come up on their dirt bikes and they push him down this huge fucking hill, which, again, hospital. He absolutely would have broken a bone or smashed his head. He needed to go to the hospital, but instead he wheels his broken bike home, and then in an angry fit chucks it into the dumpster, and his mom finds him and she's like, oh my God, what happened? And he's like, I don't care. I want to go home. I need to learn karate. I need to do anything to be able to not get the shit kicked out of me by these guys anymore. Which, I mean, Johnny is clearly the stalker. Like, he is an obsessive, like, he definitely, I don't care what happens in Cobra Kai. Like, what actually happens with Johnny is he fucking killed somebody, and it was probably a domestic partner. He probably found a new girlfriend, and then she realized he was a piece of shit and dumped him, and he fucking killed her, because that is the kind of guy who fucking kills people. Like, he escalates. They legit pushing him down the hill. They legit tried to kill him there, and he might have died. It was a big hill. And then when they attack him after the Halloween party, they absolutely were like, he had murder on his mind. Like, Johnny is a future killer.
Yeah, they're sociopaths. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely... Yeah, there's no way he wasn't going to kill... It didn't eventually, sometime between 1985 or 1984 was the last time we see him in the movies. And to Cobra Kai, like, he definitely killed somebody and spent some time in jail. And I say this without having seen any episodes of Cobra Kai yet, so I don't know what he does in that, but he definitely killed somebody. So, okay. Oh, the beach scene at the beginning, open fires on a public beach. Magical, right? The 80s were a magical time.
That's true.
You can't have an open fire anywhere in California now, because you'll start the whole fucking state on fire. So you can't do that. And also at the beginning, Johnny makes this big noble speech about how he used to be a degenerate, but now he's changed his ways, and this is his senior year, and he's going to do it right. And then immediately buzzes down the hill and assaults Elizabeth Shue. Like, what was the point of your big noble speech? You just, like, not only did he not follow through, like, he immediately broke his promise in his big noble speech. So
yeah,
what was the point? What was the point of including that in the script at all? It was stupid. Yeah, so I'm flipping through my notes here. Hang on. Oh, the morning after the party, when Daniel goes, he's getting ready for school the next morning, so they had a late night bonfire party on the beach on a Sunday, I guess. I wouldn't want to, because they were drinking too. Like, Johnny and his buddies were definitely drinking, and I'm pretty sure at least some of the other kids were drinking. So I know that you don't get hungover when you're 17, 18, 19 years old, but don't you want to sleep late? Morgan said, I'm going to have to go back and watch Karate Kid now based on you two. Yes, you should. You should. And pick out all the shit that is wrong. and how Mr. Miyagi is the only redeemable character. And yeah, we'll get to it. And Johnny and his buddies, they harass Daniel for hanging out with his mom. They see him. He goes to the Cobra Kai dojo because he wants to check out the karate, and then he sees that that's those guys, and he leaves. And they come out later, and he's having dinner with his mom in the window of that restaurant that she works at. And they see him, and they're like, "Ha ha, what a loser!" And then they like make fun of him for hanging out with his mom. Even I know teenagers are embarrassed by their parents, but would you really? Is that really that embarrassing? Because Johnny later is at that fucking country club with
right.
Yeah. So like, what the fuck, man? What are you doing? Why you can't yell at? You can't like hypocrite. He's a scumbag. He's a Nazi. He's a misogynist, and he's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
No, Daniel. Why is Daniel the asshole? Wait.
I mean, he's an asshole. I don't think he's the bad guy of the movie, but he's an asshole.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he is an asshole, but I don't think he's the asshole. I mean, Johnny's definitely the asshole. I mean, because yeah, Daniel's a dickhead. But I mean, he's like, but yeah, and like spending time with your mom doesn't make you a loser. Even, I mean, I was a teenager later than Daniel was a teenager, but it wasn't a big deal. I don't know.
Yeah.
Johnny is misunderstood. Oh, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then she's like, oh, okay. No, he isn't. He's
like I tried to watch it.
Oh my god, I was so worried for a second there.
I tried to watch it and like pretend Johnny was the good guy and Daniel was the bad guy, but like you can't really twist it that way. Like Johnny's consistently shitty and irredeemable. Like it's rough. Like Daniel is a dick though. Like he's an asshole. He makes a couple of comments to Allie that are just like blatantly sexist and shitty.
Yeah, I have a note in my page of notes that was like, yeah, he's kind of a peckerhead to Allie on a couple occasions. And he's not like a super huge dickhead misogynist prick like Johnny is, but he's an asshole to him. He's very rude to her.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick to his mom too. Like his mom has clearly, like his mom is struggling. She's a single mother or whatever, and you know he's throwing tantrums about moving, and she's like, that's not bro.
As much. I think that's yes, he's a dick for giving her a hard time for that, but that is like a teenager thing. All teenagers would be pissed off if you picked them up from their lives and then moved them across the country. So I can't fault Daniel exclusively for that. That's the thing that any teenager would have done, right. Myself included. No, my childhood fucking sucked. My classmates, almost all of them, were assholes to me. Were very giant dickheads to me. I have a very, very short list of people that I don't dislike from that class, at least from based on my knowledge of them from fucking 20 years ago. But yeah, I would probably have loved moving across the country, but my fucking dad had to go and be a goddamn farmer, and you can't just pick up a farm and move it across the country. Fucking farmers, I tell ya. So yeah, but most kids would be pissed off about that because most kids would not want to leave their friends and all the things that they knew and loved. Yeah. Oh yeah, Morgan, I'm very liberal with the peckerhead. If you're going to be a peckerhead, I'm going to call you a peckerhead. That's how I roll. Katie says my parents moved me 400 miles when I was a teenager, and I wasn't an ass to my parents. But were you pissed off about it though? Like, did it upset you, or did it devastate you to move that far? Because, I mean, good on you for not being a dick to your parents about it, but how much did it hurt you to have to do that? Because that's where I'm like, he obviously was being a huge dick to her because he did not want to move because he loved his home in New Jersey.
Right. I feel like men anyway, or male at birth people, I should say, or like they, it takes until they're probably like 25 before they get upset and maybe don't tell the person that they're upset at. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I
Yes,
feel
like
like
men
Katie was
start
probably like,
suppressing.
I'm really upset about this, but I'm not going to tell my parents about it because I know that it will be stressful for them if I tell them.
Mm-hmm.
It like more empathy. And I feel like
Right.
Daniel, and many teenagers don't have that empathy. They don't have that programmed yet. So they're just like, I'm mad and everyone's going to know about it. Like,
Being that I know Katie very well, Katie is a very, I think she was born an extremely empathetic individual. So that's probably, Katie is an exception. Katie, you're an exception. You're exceptional. And I mean that in so many ways. And I know that totally sounded like me. I was being a sarcastic asshole, but I wasn't. I seriously do. I love you, Katie. I'm pretty sure Laurie loves you too. I think everybody loves you. I think everybody loves you. All the comics people love you. So okay. Yeah. Why have portable farm? I don't know. Do they make those now? Because I should have one of those,
portable
shouldn't I?
farm would be so fucking nice, though. Seriously.
Yeah, it would. And is a portable farm like a horse? Laurie and I had a discussion the other day about how much horses suck. We both have or have had horses, and they're just they're hay. My brother calls them hay burners, and I used to think that he was a jerk for that, but now I'm like, no, he was right. And ironically, my brother's named Daniel. My brother Daniel says horses are hay burners, and he is 100% correct. If they eat the wrong kind of grass, they can founder and just fucking die.
They
Yeah,
just,
and
right.
if they lay down and then try and stand up and they do it funny, their stomachs twist into a knot and they die. Like that, fucking horses are bullshit. And
Yeah.
and yeah, Laurie, how much does it cost to fix a horse? Like assuming they can be saved from a twist from stomach torsion, which they can't, so don't even waste your money on them. Like they're dead. If they get stomach torsion, they're dead. But if they founder, we're talking thousands of dollars, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
thousands of dollars. I haven't. It's been a long time since I've had to deal with that, so I don't even know. But
Yeah, like they're beautiful animals, whatever, but like I don't get one unless you have a lot of money to just throw in the garbage.
yeah,
Because
or
like
if you're
that's
Amish and you need one for a vehicle, you can get a
okay. Yes.
But if you're Amish and you need a horse to ride to church and shit, like what are you doing watching a live stream? How do you have a computer? Are you at the library? Because most libraries are closed at this time of night.
And like it might be more of an advantage to have a mule than a horse in that case, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a mule. And actually, most of the Amish, like, there's actually, this is where I live. There's a lot of Amish people around here, and they have the littler horses, the smaller, lighter breed horses, like the riding horses. And I'm sure that a lot of people don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. They're like, a horse is a horse. But the ones with the skinny legs and the skinny feet, those are the riding lighter breed horses, and they use those to pull their carriages to the store and to church and stuff. And the horses that they use as their tractors to farm with are draft horses, which are the ones with the great big feet, and like they usually have a lot of hair around their feet. So
yeah.
That's for those of you who don't know. Around here, I mostly see Belgian breed horses. But and also I learned a couple weeks ago. I went to a horse pull, which I did not know was a thing until a couple weeks ago. And it's where it's like a tractor pull or a truck pull, but it's a horse. So those horses are the bigger ones. They're the big breed horses that yeah. And I thought it was gonna be like animal abusey, but turns out the horses seem to like it. So I don't know. And Katie, you need to check out the comments because there's a lot of love for you in there. So make sure you check it out. Oh my god, I didn't even wear my glasses. Now I'm like, I'm starting to not be able to see stuff. Julie said, dropping in to say hi, don't pick a shitty movie for us. I actually didn't even think about what movie we were going to do next. So I think that, Julie, you're off the hook. So we'll have to pick our own because I didn't actually pick a movie to pick a list of movies to give to the Discord and the group to.
Well, if anyone has like comments in this suggestions in the comments,
yeah,
feel free to give us.
But we're only gonna pick your movie if it's on a streaming service that I have, because or that Julie and or Laurie has, because we all have to be able to watch it without spending extra money. So okay, we should really get back to the Karate Kid because we've been talking about horses for like 5 minutes.
And there are no horses in the Karate Kid, so we've gone way off track.
There is a giant plant. We had that conversation too. A giant fucking cactus thing.
I was admiring Miyagi's house, and then Daniel walks by a plant, and it looked like an aloe plant that was the same size as him. So I had to take a screenshot of it and send it to Sarah because she knows more about plants than I do. And I was like, what the fuck is this mutant aloe plant? Like, I've never seen it.
And I was like, it looks like a snake plant or a succulent, but I've never seen one that big before. So I literally did, I searched huge succulent, I think. That was my search term. And that's what I got, agave. In this part of the world, you cannot grow agave outside. You can only grow them indoors because it gets too cold here, and they grow like this big tops. And this one was fucking 6 feet tall. So I had to Google, do agave plants get 6 feet tall in California? And they do. So it was because I was like, maybe it's a fake plant and they just put it there because they needed something big to hold the space. But no, it's actually a thing. So it was probably a real plant.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was probably cheaper to get a real plant than a fake one too.
Keiko says, if you ever discuss the asshole nature of Daniel and Karate Kid 2, I would love to rant.
I'm a much bigger asshole in Karate Kid 2, isn't he? Yes, that is where I can get behind the Daniel is the bad guy, but not the first one. He's not the bad guy.
I'd be game to watch. Like, we can do the second one next. Like, you and me can do the second one next time. I'd be fine with that, since we've watched the first one. Like,
as long as they're still on Netflix, let's do Karate Kid 2. Katie also suggested the Never-Ending Story, which is also a good one. Actually, maybe I'll run that by Julie, because I bet Julie would be interested in doing Never-Ending Story. So, like, yeah, good plans. Let's do those. Racial slurs. Let's talk about the racial slurs. There's only the one, I think. Yeah, there's just the one.
There was only one that I could find, and I had never heard that before. And I had to ask, I heard it, and then I asked Eric. I was like, is that what I think it is? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, why the fuck is it in here? Like, what was the fucking point of that? Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Keiko is, yes, that one.
That's the one, which I had never
heard that before.
I've heard many racial slurs for all manner of Asian, all the different Asian ethnicities. Is that the right way to say that? Am I saying it right? You know what I mean, right? I'm trying to say, like, if you're Vietnamese, if you're Chinese, if you're Japanese, like, I've heard all kinds of different, but I've never heard that one.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say it either now that I know that it is one. And as a kid watching that, like, if it was on TV or whatever, I don't ever remember that scene happening. I didn't remember it either. Talking. Oh, I think they just cut out the actual slur, because he says, the dude, the asshole says, the kid's got a pet, and then he's the pet racial slur, and then and then Mr. Miyagi is like, please move, get your shit off my truck. The boy is cold and we want to go. And the guys are like, make me. And he does that. Yeah. And then cuts, like, he manages to break the top of the bottles off without making the bottoms fall. So, that's true. Morgan said we wouldn't have known any better when we were little watching it. And that's true. So maybe I just don't remember that because I didn't know what it meant. But I was surprised when I watched it as an adult for the first time, hearing that. I was like, I didn't know there was, but looking at it, like, it makes sense that there would be racial slurs in there because it's an 80s movie, and there should be. And I think Laurie froze. Are you frozen, Laurie? I think Laurie might be frozen. And yeah, so while we wait for Laurie to come back, at least she didn't freeze on a stupid face. Keiko says, I recall Kreese calling Miyagi a Jap at one point. Yeah. Yeah, because Kreese is in the third one. Yeah, it might have been that. I don't remember, because Kreese doesn't really spend a lot of time in there, and he only has the one scene where he's talking about he only has the one scene where he's talking directly to Mr. Miyagi, and he doesn't insult him in that, not with any slurs or anything. He doesn't call him anything. She's pondering deeply. Yeah. So I had a criticism that I think that Laurie will share with me. Excuse me, when she comes back. That was part of the trouble when we were a little late. We started up the stream and then we started having some internet problems. So that was part of the issue, because her internet's kind of crap, and our internet here was a little bit crap, but now it's much better because we got new internet. Anyway, the scene where they're at the country club, Allie and her parents and Johnny and his parents are at the country club, and they Allie's mom gets Allie to dance with it may actually maybe Cobra Kai. Yeah, it might be. Oh, right. Keiko says, I'm surprised Laurie gets internet at all where she lives. Yeah, I picture Eric standing outside with like a big satellite dish, just trying to get her a connection. She does kind of like, it's kind of open. There's not a lot of crap to like until you hit the mountains there's not a lot of crap to get in the way of a connection. So I hope that if Starlink gets there that they can get Starlink, because it should work despite the light pollution in the night sky. That's canon now. What I was saying before, when at the scene at the country club where Daniel crashes into the waiter and gets covered in spaghetti sauce or what the fuck ever, every single person in that crowd of rich poncy old white people bursts out laughing, just busts a gut, seeing Daniel and this waiter writhing in all this sauce on the floor, thinking it's hilarious. Everybody except Allie and her parents are just dying laughing, and I have such a hard time believing that would actually happen, because rich white people don't laugh. They just stare snidely and then go, Yeah, I got racial slurs. Oh, the scene where Miyagi is drunk, he gives Daniel a drink, and Daniel, I believe, is 17 in this movie, so he's encouraging, even if I don't know when the drinking age changed from 18 to 21, but he definitely had been encouraging underage drinking. So let's see. I'm getting towards the end of my notes, so I need Laurie to come back, because we had a couple important things that we needed to discuss before the end of this. And she's sending me a message. She said, internet just completely died. So yeah, that's as we expected, as we suspected, is that her internet, the Cobra Kai got her internet. They probably cut her off, and they can't cut us off because our internet's too good. Katie, they are more likely to look down their noses and look disgusting than all laughing. Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is like they would absolutely not think that was funny. They would think it's disgusting and awful, and what the hell is that poor kid from Reseda doing in our country club, even if he is in the kitchen? Laurie's back. Yay.
Sorry.
We discussed it, and we decided the Cobra Kai got your internet.
Oh, yeah. It was all orchestrated. I don't even know the guy's name. I just call him Evil Hasselhoff, because that's all I can think
He is Evil Hasselhoff. His name is Kreese.
I like Evil Hasselhoff better.
Yeah, Evil Hasselhoff is definitely better. He's from a culture that just freely gives sake to kids at celebrations. Do they do that? I didn't know they did that in Japan, so that's cool. I wish I was born there. I want sake for everything. You know what? I say that as I recall my childhood, where I was like barely out of diapers, and my dad was feeding us beer while he was milking cows. Like he would drink beer while milking cows, and we would toddle on down the way, and there'd be he would leave his can on the floor in the middle. There was cows on the left, cows on the right, and then in the middle, and then there's like gutters, and there's the walkway in the middle, and he would just set his beer down in the middle. And so we would just toddle on up and grab it, take a sip, and he'd be like, yeah, sure, have some. So maybe that's why I don't drink now.
but sake is way better than beer.
I've only ever had it once, and I do not remember how much I liked it or didn't like it.
I just know that like I've had it and I enjoyed it, and like beer, to me, beer is like unpalatable. I can't.
I don't like it. Yeah, it's the fermentation. I guess it just tastes rotten to me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, with the exception of Leinenkugels, because Leinenkugels does something to make theirs taste like sugar water, and it's delicious. And specifically, I'm talking about the berry vice because I don't think the other types that they do are that good. Oh my god, I'm gonna explode. Excuse me. Okay.
So we'll just blame it on Evil Hasselhoff.
Yeah, Evil Hasselhoff, that goddamn Cobra Kai.
Oh, I forgot. Yes. I wanted to mention. So that whole scene where they're at the Cobra Kai dojo or whatever, and you see all these assholes training together.
Yes.
And Miyagi and Daniel like walk in and they're watching for like 10 minutes. And
I remember. Yes.
During this time, Evil Hasselhoff gives this one kid this whole speech about awareness and like kicks him in the head or whatever because he's not aware enough.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's like the only black guy that shows up in the movie
at all.
He gets the shit out of him.
Correct. There is one black kid in this dojo, and he immediately gets beaten down and then shit on by the teacher. And I immediately noticed that, and it's bullshit. We should definitely.
One of the Cobra Kai guys that Daniel beats in the tournament is the only black guy at the Cobra Kai. Like he beats like 2 Cobra Kai guys before he gets face off with Bobby, and he just very handily beats the black kid. And it's like,
I'm pretty sure it's the same kid.
Be so dismissive there.
Yeah, I mean, it's shitty. Yeah. Anyway, but so he gives this kid this whole fucking lecture about awareness and like kicks him in the head, and then like 8 minutes, Miyagi and Daniel have been standing there for like 8 minutes, and then he's like, "Oh, there's like the kid has to tell him there's people there because he's not aware enough to notice that there's people."
Yeah, Johnny doesn't notice until Johnny is like, because he's like, "Is there a problem, Mr. Lawrence?" And that's when he learns that there's people there. Yeah.
So where's his awareness? What the fuck?
Yeah, like after that big speech and punching the kid down, knocking him down to yell at him about how he wasn't being observant. Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, fuck this guy, man.
Douchery.
He's a terrible sensei.
He's a terrible. Yeah, he should not be allowed within 50 yards of children.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if you really analyze it, he's the bad guy. Like if you go back to the core of it, Evil Hasselhoff is literally the bad guy of Karate Kid. Like all of the kids are basically fucked up because of him.
Yeah, they never. And Miyagi says it himself that no such thing as a bad student. There's only a bad teacher because the teacher says and the student does. And he's absolutely right. Like Johnny would probably still be an asshole because he was born rich, but he wouldn't have been an asshole who likes to beat the shit out of people for fun.
Right.
If he hadn't been taking karate at the Cobra Kai. And yeah, and Evil Hasselhoff makes the kids, all the students, multiple times. He makes them chant to repeat that mantra. It's strike first, strike hard, no mercy. What the fuck are you teaching that to teenagers and children? They're children.
Yeah, it's like this. Mind? Yeah, it's like this guy gets like his jollies off because like he's not that good at fighting anymore, so he has to like train other people and then like have his dick measuring contests like through these kids that he's training basically. Like,
and you fucking know that he chokes his girlfriend when they have sex. You know it. that popped into my head and I said it long
without consent.
Stop to think about it.
Non-consensually. Like she doesn't like it. You like
he's the kind of guy that tells his girl to get into the kitchen and make him a fucking sandwich. Like he doesn't respect people. And he doesn't respect people without penises at all. And he doesn't respect people with penises until they do something that he finds admirable, which is usually involving violence. I mean, he doesn't really even respect Johnny, even though Johnny is announced at the karate tournament as being the defending champion. Like he's the champion coming back for another year, and he doesn't really have his teacher's respect. So, yeah.
Yeah, the man is like an evil 4-year-old. Like he's complete trash.
Yeah.
And like if there was a movie where he got killed somehow, I would be okay with that. Like, is the guy in Cobra Kai? Like, is it the same fucking guy, or is it?
Yeah, it is. I don't remember. Or I haven't watched it. Jesus, that was a really hard time getting that thought out.
Like Kreese is still like a thing, or it's like his son or something.
It's that guy. I saw him in the credits when I was doing my research for Karate Kid. He is in Cobra Kai, and it is that guy. And he's a fucking 100 now, but he is in that movie, and he looks the same too. He's still Evil Hasselhoff. I wish I would have loaded a picture up to StreamYard for us to pop it on there, because oh my god, he looks the same. Like a little bit.
How is this man still running loose? Like, how have they not just revoked his license to teach this shit? Like, how is this not a thing?
I don't know. if that whole Cobra Kai, like they said that the role, like Daniel's the bastard in Cobra Kai. I don't know because I haven't seen it, but like if that is true, then what the fuck is Kreese doing there? Why is he doesn't need to be there if Daniel's the bad guy now, right? So why is he there?
We need to watch the other movies and then watch Cobra Kai, I guess, and analyze them, because like right now, like where I stand, like this guy is such a piece of shit. Like, why are we making a series about him?
And you've seen Karate Kid 3, right? Because like this guy has zero redeeming qualities. Zero. In the Karate Kid, he's not in 2, but he is in 3. He's like the main in 3, and he like zero. There is no like Julie and I were complaining with Castlevania about how every single bad guy in that series has an empathetic bad guy. Like all of the bad guys in there, with the exception of 2. One he's just death. Like he's just the entity death, who like that's what he does, is he gets people to die so he can eat their souls. Like that doesn't need a backstory. But the one character, like you very sympathetic of Dracula in that series, and then Carmilla becomes the bad guy after Dracula's out of the picture, and you're like, why the fuck should I give a shit about her? Like, no, you don't. I never connected. I never cared about her. Like I cared about the character of Dracula because he had a very tragic story, but I don't give a shit about Carmilla. And that's how it goes with Kreese. Like I have no reason to give a shit about this guy, or like, why is he the way he is? Why is he such a scumbag? Like that's the kind of shit you need for a really good story, and he doesn't have it, not once. Like maybe in Cobra Kai he does, which would be great because it would be about time. He needs a backstory so that we can at least learn why he is the way he is.
The only tiny indication they give is they show like an old photograph of him on the wall where he's in the military.
Yeah, and
which is shitty. That's a shitty implication that like people in the military,
I know
like,
tons
are
of people
crazy.
that were in the military and became productive members of society that didn't teach kids to beat up other kids for fun.
Keiko says Karate Kid 3, Daniel gets fat and becomes a larger dick. I'm ready to watch it. Like I don't know if I've seen 3. I know I've seen 2, but it was like 20 years ago, so I have no recollection of it. Like
I have definitely seen all of them. I remember the second one is where they go to Okinawa.
Doesn't one of them star a girl?
They all have girls in them, I think. Actually, maybe the third one doesn't really have a girl, but they all have love interests for Daniel.
No, but I thought there was one where he trains a girl.
Oh, the next Karate Kid. That's Hilary Swank is the next Karate Kid. So that's after it's Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, then the next Karate Kid. And then the 2010 Karate Kid, which I heard sucked, but I'd never watched it, so I can't say it sucked. That's just what I've heard.
I guess we gotta catch up.
I would like to watch it at some time, but we could do the next Karate Kid too, because that's on Netflix too. And it's actually, it's okay, I guess. It's kind of like the original Karate Kid, but with a girl. So
she's probably less of a dick than Daniel.
She has a better reason to be a dick. I don't know, like especially in the beginning, she is way bigger dick than Daniel, but she has a better growth arc throughout her movie. So I guess that's good. And she has a much like Daniel really doesn't have a good. He's got. I know he's got single parent and everything, and so we don't know what happened to his dad, but he doesn't really seem to mention it. Doesn't really seem to be a thing for him. No point of contention there. And he seems to have a good relationship with his mom, and he finds a father figure in Mr. Miyagi. So he doesn't have a reason to be a dick because of that. But Hilary Swank's character, I can't remember her name in the movie, it doesn't matter, but her arc is so much better because she actually, the beginning, and I'm not really spoiling too much here, but like her parents are dead. Her parents die in this horrific car crash, I think, and she lives with her grandma, and she meets Mr. Miyagi because her grandfather passed away, but he was a World War II vet who served with Mr. Miyagi, so that's how they that's the meet cute there.
I mean, it sounds though, it sounds like Daniel doesn't have growth though. He goes backwards. Like based on what people are saying about Karate Kid 2 and 3, like he devolves. Like
I don't. Okay, so like this is being said, not really remembering Karate Kid 3, but I do remember Karate Kid 2 well enough to say I don't think it's that he doesn't. I don't think it's that he regresses. I think it's that he doesn't progress. Like he just stays that at the end of Karate Kid 1, he wins the trophy. He's on top of the world, and he just never really grows after that. Like he's supposed to be becoming a young adult, and he doesn't really do that through the other two movies. So yeah. What are we? The Shinto temple, is that in Karate Kid 3?
No, that's the next Karate Kid, isn't it? With the girl. I thought I remember a temple.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was like a Buddhist monk compound thingy, which they do have, and it's out. There's some in the mountains, and then but like I don't know where they are on the East Coast, because wherever that is that they drive, wherever it is that they go to in the next Karate Kid, they drive to it, and so if they drive to it, that would imply that it's somewhere nearby on the East Coast, because the reason that they go there is because she gets suspended from school for a week, and so they're like, well, I'm gonna take you on this journey to become a better person and take you to this place where these friends of mine are. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, surely we had in the early 20th century a huge Asian population of all the entire continent of Asia. Like every country, there was a bunch of people came over, and the Chinese, I think, were the ones that got shit on the most as far as racism goes. But they everybody came over, just like all the Europeans did. They came over and they built their own little mini versions of their countries there. So it must be. I mean, there must be Shinto temples here. I don't know. That was a long arc of where is there a Shinto temple for just so little payoff. At the end of Karate Kid, when Bobby gets Daniel, he takes out his knee, fucks it all up, and the Daniel is all like, I gotta finish this because they'll never respect me if I don't. They'll just know that every time they see me, they'll know that they got the best of me. And I was like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. You are fucking 17. You aren't even going to remember these people in 5 years. Calm the fuck down. But he's all like, I got to do this. And the doctor's like, you shouldn't do this. And then they're all like, he says, Mr. Miyagi, will you help me with and you had a comment about the pain suppression thing, right?
Well, I was hoping someone in the comments maybe could enlighten me as to what that is. Like, it's cool. But they kind of paint Mr. Miyagi as like the magic non-white person, which is kind of a trope. Okay, yes, so I wanted to know, like, I guess, like, what that's grounded in. If it's a chi thing, or if it's because I've never seen that before, or if it's just something they created to make him seem more magical.
Yeah, I bet that was because they always say, the Eastern alternative medicine crap. I mean, it's still kind of a thing here, but they always say that. Yeah, in 80s bullshit mysticism. Yeah, it's always the magic Asian or the magic Indian or the magic African, and it's never the magic white person, but there's always it's such a it's such a shitty lazy. It's lazy too. It's not just shitty, and it's not just racist. It's also fucking lazy. So fucking lazy. Like, if you're gonna have him do some magic hand rubbing bullshit, at least tell us what it is. Because all he does is just like psh, and done, and that's it. He's like, "What'd you do to my arm? It's better now." And he said something. Does he say ancient Japanese secret or something like that? It's just brushed off as a joke, and it's like, fucking no.
Right.
I think, this was not considered racism in the 80s.
Right. The fact that he did it isn't bad. It's the fact that they just made it seem magical. See, Keiko's saying it's Reiki. So it is a thing.
I've been saying Reiki all this time, so I've been fucking it up. Fuck.
I assume I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I don't know.
I don't know either. And I do know that in the village where my house is, that I don't really live in anymore, I know that there is a little brick and mortar place down there that has that word across its window, and I am positive that 2 extremely white ladies run that place. So, you know.
Yeah, see, well, that's gonna be trash, right? Like, I'm sure Gwyneth Paltrow has taken over that kind of shit.
It's Reiki?
No, it's Reiki, because her name's Keiko.
Oh, Keiko, and I thought you said A as an is an I. A. So Reiki. Okay, so I was wrong. Well, fuck. Now I have to learn to not say it wrong the next time. You know how when you realize you've been saying something wrong for years and then it takes you like 6 months to learn how to not say it wrong? Now I gotta do that. Except that I've literally never said that word in the decades before, like at least 10 years, and I probably won't need to say it again anytime soon.
So that is a real thing, and it originated in Japan. And yeah, I wish they just given it more legitimacy then, because it felt like they
explain it. That's because like when you have your major minority actor character do something like that and then don't explain anything, and it's not in our Western culture. We don't have that in Western white people culture. So you do that and then you don't say what the hell he's doing, then that's when it becomes the magic Asian trope, and that's when it becomes offensive. And I realize it wasn't considered offensive in 1984, but it is now, and I hope to God they didn't do it in the 2010 Karate Kid movie.
Right. Yeah, it seems
that weird green juice that he uses in one of the other movies too, that he uses to Daniel hurts his elbow, and the green juice. I don't know what it is.
I don't remember.
That's more magic Asian stuff, and it just pisses me off. Like, it's stuff that I didn't even have the time to get pissed off about, but I didn't even consider being pissed off about it until you pointed out that that's magic Asian stuff, and I hate that. Just explain it. He's a great character, and you don't need to mess it up like that. He didn't need to be magical to be an amazing character.
Yeah, he's already magical.
And he's a wonderful character, and I think that throughout all the movies that he is in, he remains a very strong character. The one thing that I mentioned at the beginning of this that he said, that I said that he is the one problematic thing that he said, is when he's teaching Daniel to punch. He says Daniel kind of gives him a really weak first punch, and Miyagi's like, "What are you, some kind of girl or something?" And that was the only thing. And I was like, okay, that's shitty, but you know what? People still say that today, so I'm not looking at it and going, "Ew, that didn't age well." I'm looking at it and going, "Oh, I wish he hadn't said that." And hopefully in a few years I can look back and say that didn't age well. But as of right now, people still fucking say that. So I can't say it didn't age well because it's still a thing.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Keiko said, "I think any Asian type thing gets blended together now. I think Reiki is just a type of massage now." Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct over here for sure. Like, Asian, everybody.
White people have, especially in America, like just taken Reiki, and it's just like, it means crystals, and there's all kinds of, like they've just made a whole other thing for hippies, for white hippies, and called it Reiki. And I'm not even sure, like I don't even know how much of actual Reiki is involved in it. Like it's kind of shit.
She also said one of the real crazy things I always have to explain with Miyagi too is Miyagi isn't Japanese, he's Okinawan. And people from his era, there's a huge difference. And that's something I don't know. I don't know. I didn't realize until, 2 seconds ago when I read that comment that Okinawa and Japan aren't the same place. I thought Okinawa was part of Japan. Is this like a situation, a less repressive situation like with China and Taiwan, because I do know more about that one. Like Taiwan wants to be its own place, but China's like, no, you are part of China. So, and yet at the same time, they demand that Taiwan be a part of China, but then they also shit on all the Taiwanese people. So,
Or
like,
like Scotland and the UK, kind of.
yeah, kind of. Yeah, well, I hope that's not as bad now, because that was like fucking 400 years ago and shit, and they should be better. Like Braveheart shit was.
But
like,
yeah, they are. Okinawa is part of Japan now.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when Mr. Miyagi would have immigrated over, it must not have been. So okay, that makes sense. I'm gonna have to look that up now, because now I'm curious, and I don't want to make the mistake again of saying Japanese versus Okinawan. I want to be right when I want to not be an ignorant white person, because we do that. Like in America, we do that all the time, and I used to be way less aware of it than I am now. So yeah. Okay, he says it is still going on with Scotland and England, so that's cool. Glad to hear that we white people like to fight amongst each other as well as with everybody else.
Sure.
Whatever.
Okay. One thing that Keiko said I wanted to bring up, she says a lot of their portrayal of an Okinawan martial artist are accurate, that's cool. Like, it's cool that they looked into that.
I feel like I read somewhere that Pat Morita actually made it a point to not let them be like it would have been a much more tropey movie without him, because I think he was really fighting to keep it as authentic as possible. So another reason why Pat Morita was a great choice for the role. When Japan surrendered, America gave them Okinawa and Japan and was like, hey, cool. And Okinawa was like, but no. And now it's all Japan. I see. Well, that sucks. That fucking sucks.
See, like, we don't know this shit, and we should. Like, that's, I don't, yeah.
We don't even, in America, we don't even learn our own fucking history correctly. So I can't really, as a student of American school systems, I cannot be expected to know the correct history of literally any country, because I don't even know my own. Like, I literally learned about the Tulsa massacre, the Tulsa race massacre, because of the Watchmen movie, the show. I was like, I did not know that was a thing until the fucking Watchmen. And that is not, you should never, ever say, I didn't learn about this very crucial event in American history because of a fucking superhero show.
Yeah.
That could never be a thing that anyone ever utters. And that's, oh my God.
And the same
shit that I learned in 2020 from all the rioting and the protesting, like just the shit that I learned there that year. It's just unbelievable. Sorry, I interrupted you. I was sick. Okay. I had a very passionate thought and it had to come out.
It's okay. I lost my train of thought anyway.
Well, I have a couple more notes, and we are we kind of ran over time here, so we should probably wrap it up. But I was saying when you kind of puffed out and then back in, I said Miyagi encourages Daniel to drink, and that's why we were at the sake thing. He encourages 17-year-old Daniel to drink. I also said that I had a hard time believing all those rich old white people at the country club would have seen Daniel crash into that waiter and fall and get, what the fuck was Daniel doing wearing white pants and a white shirt anyway? But like, that's beside the point. That was a terrible fashion choice, even in the 80s, but he gets the sauce all over himself. And then every single person in that Ponzi white rich crowd starts to laugh, except Allie. Yeah, they are just busting a gut, except Allie and her parents, who are just looking horrified.
Yeah.
And at least Allie's parents had the decency to not laugh, but they're not very nice people. So I don't
But
feel
yeah,
that.
it
But
didn't
yeah, like
feel
that wouldn't
real.
happen. Yeah, and Katie agreed. She said absolutely no. They would have looked disgusted. They would have looked down their nose in disgust at those two writhing on the floor in the sauce. They would not, like, because they are the poor kid from Reseda and a lowly waiter. Like, they wouldn't have laughed. They would have been disgusted.
Like
So,
close the kitchen doors
yeah.
and like start the
And what
music
the fuck were
again.
those swinging kitchen doors? Now that I think about it, they are swinging doors, and yet somehow they were standing open so that everybody could see that this had happened. Get the fuck out of here. That didn't. No, fuck off. I said that in the 80s that you got to suck it up through the pain thing that they do with Daniel at the end. Such a bad lesson to teach children. You should not, in fact, do that. Simone Biles with the Olympics, when she pulled out because of her mental health, I think she just kind of generically cited mental health, right? She didn't go into specifics, and she shouldn't fucking have to, because it's nobody's business but hers. So anybody who demanded more explanation can go have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. But yeah, like, don't fight through the pain. If you fight through the pain, you are going to fuck up your knee more, and then you're going to have arthritis for the rest of your life. And you are 17. You don't want arthritis for the rest of your life. Did you get it?
Yeah. Sorry. No, I don't usually have access to this, so I'm like, ooh, what does this do?
Yeah, I forget to use that. It's a lot of times people have really good comments, and I should be doing that, but I always forget.
Well, if I'm in the controls too, I can help you. See, we can be a team.
Yeah, you should stay in the controls. I think usually it's just easier for you to always for me to just pop the link into whatever chat is for the people that are appearing, and so that's how I do it. But it would be better for you to be on there too, and that way if I miss a bad comment, you can nab it, because sometimes I do. Very rarely, because we don't get a lot of bad comments. Most of our viewers are cool people.
Most of them are awesome. But yeah, what Keiko's saying here is really interesting. Like, I had no idea about this. Like,
yeah, utterly hated Japanese people. Yeah, and it's so strange. Like, it's the same content, the same concept as the Scotland and England and the Taiwan and China. Like, why do you fucking hate each other? You live right next door to each other. Come on. Yeah, I heard that Keiko chick is pretty cute too. The one, okay, so I guess more or less two final thoughts. One is just, there's no fucking way Johnny would suddenly have all this respect for Daniel after that. He would be so fucking pissed that he fucked up so very, very badly as to have Daniel kick him right in the fucking face when he was wide goddamn open. Like, he was completely exposed, and Daniel kicks him in the face with the crane thing, which I don't believe for a second is an actual martial arts move. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being a complete asshole by saying that, but like, you are off balance when you are doing that. Like, I took Taekwondo, and you took Judo. You took something, right? You took something.
Yeah, I've done Judo and Kung Fu, and yeah, it would definitely be an illegal kick, like Keiko's saying.
Because you're not supposed to kick him in the face. You're not supposed to hit in the face ever, right? That's a big no-no. I never did any competition stuff, but I did train in Taekwondo enough to know that a couple of the big things, like the very number one thing, and it's the very number one thing that Mr. Miyagi teaches Daniel too, is that balance is everything. Like, you have to have good, strong core, or you are not going to win your fight. And he is standing on one fucking leg. Like, how is that balanced?
I mean, I think it's like an emergency move more than anything else, but yeah, it's
he's lifting up his bad leg, and when he jumps off of his good leg and then he lands hard on his bad leg.
On the bad leg.
Yeah, like, come on.
Yeah.
How illegal face kicks are. Some dude just got DQ'd in the Olympic gold medal match for KOing his opponent on a face kick. Yeah. I believe that, because like, the face is attached to the head, which is where the brain is, and sudden violent impact to your brain is a concussion. So, and I do believe they've made movies about how bad repetitive concussions are, didn't they? Like, Will Smith was in it and everything. It's a big deal.
Yeah. Ugh. But yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. Like, it felt like I liked that Johnny had like And he sort of has second thoughts during the match as well, and he's like,
like the part where Kreese tells him to attack his leg, his sore leg.
Right. And like you
Daniel
see
was
him
absolutely horrified.
Yeah, and you see him having the doubt, but like it seems to escalate very quickly from doubt to like celebrating, and like I kind of
like,
wish that they had slowly grown that more throughout the movie, and then it would have felt like that moment would have been realistic, or it would have felt better.
Yeah, do you remember? Okay, so I know you said it's been a while since you've seen the Karate Kid 2. At the beginning of Karate Kid 2, they pick up immediately where the Karate Kid 1 leaves off. Like they're literally walking to the parking lot when at the beginning of that. And Mr. Miyagi, I believe that Kreese, that evil Hasselhoff, actually ends up kind of attacking one of his Cobra Kai students, and Mr. Miyagi actually ends up stepping in to defend the kids, because of course he did, because that's the kind of person Mr. Miyagi is. He's not going to let a piece of shit beat up a piece of shit, humongous, fully grown and fully formed man beat up teenagers. So yeah. And he actually, I don't think in that, you can't even call it a fight, because I don't think in that whole thing he actually strikes Kreese even once. I think he just kind of lets Kreese use his own momentum against him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. My final thought about it was that at the end of the movie, the audience rushes the fucking mats and then hoists Daniel up on their shoulders and like carries him around. Like, first of all, where the fuck are you going? And secondly, these people are strangers and they rushed the fucking mat. There's no way they were that excited about the underdog winning, and there's no way that was okay with the people running that fucking tournament.
Also, are people really that excited in a high school karate match? Like, no. That's amazing. Like,
and they did. I think that if I remember right, they did accurately portray the size of the crowd in that it wasn't that big and it was very sparsely populated in the stands. But yeah, no, that wouldn't fucking happen. Like, no. And I just remembered, like, Daniel's mom, Lucille, I think her name is, she hears nothing of this whole Daniel's gonna learn karate and compete in this fucking tournament. And then right at the end, when Daniel gets his leg injured, all of a sudden there she, like, we didn't even see her come into the tournament with them. It was just Mr. Miyagi, Daniel, and Allie that came in. And then all of a sudden, fucking Lucille LaRusso is there going, "Oh, honey, are you okay?" In the locker room where the official clearly said no one but teachers and students are allowed. Where the fuck did she come from? That was a technical, a little technical random plot hole that doesn't really matter. But like, why does his mom not know anything? Like, how did we not see her discuss that with him and not be concerned at all about the fact that he knows shit about karate and now he's going to be in a fucking tournament? No.
Yeah, she's just gone along for the ride at this point.
Yeah,
like,
I guess she's like, "Oh, Mr. Miyagi's a really nice guy because he fixed my faucet and gave me a baby tree, so I guess it's okay." And they're not baby trees. I know they're like carefully curated, but like he gave her a tree and he fixed their faucet, which is his fucking job. So that's not really enough information to determine whether or not he's a good guy.
Right. I feel also like in
Daniel's bike too.
In this day and age, if that happened, like the mom would call the police. Like if like her kid was like at some strange man's house, like, and that's not to say like Miyagi is a threat or there's anything wrong with him. Like, he's lovely and I would have loved to hang out with him when I was a kid. But like moms today would be like fucking.
Yes. Oh yeah. And it reminds me of the same thing. Actually, this is actually worse. The Back to the Future, Marty. There's fucking zero explanation for him and Doc Brown's relationship. Like, they just beginning of the movie, they're buddies and nobody questions it.
They're just like best friends. Yeah, like,
again, same situation. You absolutely would have called the cops on Doc Brown. What the fuck do you want, dude? Jesus Christ. Why are you doing this to me, kitty? There. Is this better? So yeah. Keiko says, "Wait till you see Cobra Kai and see how excited the Valley is for karate." Oh, I bet it's not real either. Like, there's no fucking way anybody in California is that excited about karate.
I mean, it would be cool. Like, I'm okay with that, but
Yeah,
like,
that's not. It's
excited
not that
enough to like run down and like carry people and like
carry a fucking stranger who is sweaty and gross and also very seriously injured, and you're shaking him around like that. Come on. And then Mr. Miyagi's just like, he's just looking on so proud, and it's like, you should not be proud. You should be worried.
Because they're probably be a little worried about this.
They're gonna hurt him so much. They're gonna fuck up his knee even more. He's like, he's like headbutting me in the armpit, and I can't. Why? What do you want?
He's assaulting you.
He's digging at my arm, and what do you want? He just wants me to pet him. That's all he wants. And I'm just here for the ride. This is my job in life, is to put food in the bowl and pet him. See his face. He's happy now. What a dick.
So what a brat.
Cat. So, okay. Do you have any other parting thoughts? Do you have a favorite quote or anything that you remember? I'm trying to think. I don't think that any one quote stuck out for me, except for the Miyagi going, "What are you, some kind of girl or something?"
Yeah, that was rough.
I do. When they the part where they meet the guys who insult him with the racial slur, they're at the beach, and he breaks the bottles with his hand. Excuse me. And Daniel's like, "How did you do that?" And Mr. Miyagi, it was this perfect delivery of the line. He kind of giggles and goes, "Don't know, first time."
Yeah.
And like, that was fucking brilliant. I mean, the delivery was beautiful, and it was perfect. Everything about it was perfect.
Yeah, I guess the main thing, I don't really have a specific quote, but just like everything Mr. Miyagi says is just great. Like, he's just,
yes,
like, he's serious, but he has a sense of humor, and like, he's very short and to the point, and he doesn't just sit there and
he's like
exposition and like.
I had this thought. I was like, I just about said it out loud. Now I'm going to say it anyway, but I'm going to say it with more awareness. I was about to say he's just like Samurai Jack, where he only speaks when he only speaks when he has something good to say. And I was like, right. I didn't mean to compare him to another Asian character. It just kind of happened that way. But at least I assume, is Samurai Jack Asian? Is he Japanese? Because Mr.
I'm not
Miyagi,
sure.
Not Japanese. He's Okinawan, which I didn't know before. I didn't understand the difference before, so now I do. And I don't know Samurai Jack's ethnicity at all, but I mean that he, samurai in the name implies, I guess. But he never speaks unless he has something very important to say, and Mr. Miyagi is similar. And with the exception of the girl comment where he insults Daniel by calling him a girl, with the exception of that, I think that every single one of Mr. Miyagi's lines are beautiful.
Yeah, they're great.
Aku, I don't know. Aku, is that how you say it? From Samurai Jack was played by Mako, Mako was fucking fabulous. He was the voice of Uncle Iroh, bringing it full circle. And then they named in Korra, they named one of the brothers Mako in honor of Mako. The older brother's Mako. So, well, okay, so that's the Karate Kid. We have
to watch 2 and 3 and so on, I think.
We definitely do. We have a bunch of holes to fill for our schedule for the next few weeks. I've got us all the way into October, I think, with very, very good stuff. But yeah, next one we can definitely do Karate Kid 2, and we'll have to talk about when that will be, because I'm down for this idea. I'm here for it.
Yeah, because I want to document like Daniel's descent into being more of a shithead. Yes, like I want to know.
He becomes a bigger shithead by not maturing emotionally as he matures physically, and yeah. And then I am very, like, after this discussion, I am very interested into seeing what kind of person he is in Cobra Kai now.
Yeah. Same.
So you all who are watching us, which is more people than usual. See, I told you, Laurie, they're coming for you, not me. They're not coming for content. They're coming for pretty Laurie. And your crazy, beautiful, like, wavy hair. Like, that makes me mad. My hair is just like all the time.
I've always wanted straight hair.
Out and then it's like, that's what it does. That's my hair for you. Anywho, I fucked it all up. It never stays put, and like I don't know, is that an ADHD thing where I like it's a stimming thing? I cause like dick with my hair all the time, and when I don't have it, I'm definitely more like when I make the terrible mistake to cut it all off, then I'm pissed off and I'm like more angry until the hair gets long enough again. I become an angry person for like a year. So okay. Yeah, see, everybody says Laurie's beautiful. Katie said, I mean, I expect Morgan to say it because at this point, that's like I don't hear Morgan say anything but Laurie's pretty.
Yes, that's Keiko is also ADHD, so she would know.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So is it, I don't know. I feel like it's a stim thing because I know I do it more when I'm stressed out, and I do it less when I'm comfortable. So it must be a self-soothing kind of thing.
You're like, I need some dopamine. This feels really good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, when I cut my hair off, which is always a mistake, but I keep doing it like every 6 or 7 years, I chop it all off. And I get mad. I get mad one day and I just go to the salon and they chop it up to here. And then I'm like, now what do I do? This is terrible. And I think, oh, it'll be so much easier to clean and it'll dry so much faster. And then I forget that I have to spend all that extra time that I saved on washing to fucking style it. Because it looks ridiculous. It looks like a football helmet if you don't. Okay, I'm done. We're done talking about hair. I won't talk about hair anymore. Okay, next week, everybody listen up here because next week is a good one, everybody. We have professional sex therapists on for a episode of Let's Talk About Sex on UHS Presents. It's Kasten. I think most everybody knows Kasten, right? And I hope I don't just destroy her name here. It's Kasten Kolbakinski. Is that how you say it? Kasten Kolbakinski.
We have to ask her.
I'm going to ask her to make sure, but I'm hoping that I'm not ruining her name very badly.
But yeah, like seriously, we're gonna and like we want to answer questions, right? We have
I want anybody who's watching now or who will be watching at any time between Monday, August 16th at 9:14 p.m. Central Time until August 23rd at approximately 6 p.m. Central Time. Like if you can have a question that you've always wanted to know about sex and you've been too embarrassed to ask or too self-conscious to put into your Google search history, then email it to us. You can email it to us with, if you want to remain anonymous, you can email us with like a burner email account like trashmail.com or whatever. Or if you trust us, because we will never ever out you. We will never tell anybody if you have a question that you're too embarrassed and you don't like, we're not going to be the dicks that are going to out you. We're not going to be peckerheads like Daniel and Johnny
right,
and out you on anything. So you can email us at hero@uhstudios.com and ask that question for us. And like I said, if you trust us, which you should, because we're never going to do that to you. We never do you guys dirty. I hope I use that phrase correctly because I'm not down with the language of the street.
Well, technically, we're going to do them dirty by answering their sex questions, but
yes, but we're not going to out you if you have this question that you want to ask in private. We're not going to out you for it. So you can feel confident that if you email us with your personal account, your identity will remain confidential. Or if you want, you can also email it from like your brother's account or your dad's account, whatever. We don't care because we're not going to say anybody's names. But if you have, and yeah, like Keiko says, I wear my kinks on my sleeve. You can name drop me all the time. And awesome, because if you aren't self-conscious or you aren't too shy or embarrassed or worried about asking a question about sex, then you can just come and watch the stream. I did use it correctly. Thank you, Morgan. I am from the Midwest, and I told you earlier I grew up on a farm, so like I am the lamest person I know. And I don't know any street slang or anything. Because like when it's the first time someone said yeet, I was like, what the fuck is that? And I had to look it up. I didn't know what yeet meant. So anyway, yes. if you have those questions, please email us. The email again is hero@uhstudios.com. And you can also find us on our social media if you want to send a message. I wouldn't recommend, because there's a lot of people that have access. Like all of us UH.
To the Facebook page. Yeah, don't send email
bunch
it.
Of us. Don't send it to the Facebook page, because several of us have access to that. But only Laurie has access to the UH Studios email. And even I don't have, well, actually technically I do know how to get into it, but even it will only be me or her. So, and I'm not going to do it because I have not got the ambition to find that information to get back in there. So,
that being said, we're going to talk very openly about everything, kinks and sex, and just I'm mildly concerned we'll get banned on Twitch, but we'll see. I want people to feel comfortable asking questions and talking about shit, because we're going to be really comfortable with Kasten in this conversation, and I think it's going to be really fun.
And I actually have been scrutinizing, I guess is the right word to use. I've been scrutinizing how what we are planning to do against Twitch's rules, and I think there will be no nudity, there will be nothing of that sort. We are just going to be talking frankly about
educational.
Yes, and she specifically deals with sexual dysfunctions, like people who were raised in a really strict household and now have sexual dysfunction because of it. They can't perform for their partners and whatnot, stuff like that. So it's going to be 100%, yes, Astian, 100% for educational purposes, but we are not. Damn it! I'm sorry, no nudity. Yes, I mean, I think cartoon boobies would be acceptable on Twitch, but probably not Facebook. So we're not going to do that anyway. Never mind.
They're likely right. We can't do any live demonstrations.
Oh no, none of that. But Kasten does have very fun hair. She does have extremely colorful, very fun hair. So I'm excited to see if she's still got the rainbow bangs or if she's gonna have something new. So yes,
maybe,
Katie.
Maybe we can wear sexy outfits or kinky outfits or something. But beyond that, we can't be naked.
I don't own any sexy outfits.
Well, we have time. We have a week to buy you some.
I do own I have huge boobs, and I could wear a low cut top. Is that good enough? Yeah. Because that's all you can really see on me anyway.
Yeah.
So I can show you my pussy. I'm so good with the dad jokes tonight. This little fucker will not leave me alone today. What is his problem? Oh, Jack. So yeah, so that's what we're doing next week. It's going to be super fun. I am really excited. I think Julie is going to be on stream for that too. I think Julie, because she was very interested, and I mean, who wouldn't be? And Julie's awesome like that. So I think she might be popping on there, and that'll be the very first time all three of us will be on stream together. And Laurie, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think you've actually spoken to Julie at all ever, have you?
No, not
yeah, so this will be the first time that we'll all be together and talking all almost face-to-face, digitally face-to-face. So fun times, right? Fun times to be had by all. And I'm really excited. Again, I'm repeating myself. I'm just really excited. This is fun. Laurie, I think you had this idea, but I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we fucking did not do it. We forgot about it for 6 months. And then
everybody wants to talk about sex, so let's just talk about it.
Who doesn't have a weird question? I mean, if you are even I guess it'll be a little out of our wheelhouse to ask about a sexual health question. Kasten may know, but she's a sexual therapist, she's for function. If you have a question about health, you might need to go to your doctor for that, which you should. If you have something wrong down there, you should go to your doctor, because I can guarantee you that they have seen it all before, and you will not be surprising them. They are doctors. They've seen everything.
Please don't email us photos of your strange rash.
Oh my God, yes. No, please. No photos at all. Please. None. No photos. Only text.
Photos. Just
100% text-based questions.
Unless you're Keiko. Keiko can send photos. That's fine.
Okay, Keiko can send photos. I'm not gonna contradict Laurie. She's the boss. Every time I pee, it's all blood. Is that normal? Or like the Eddie Murphy bit, there's just fire comes out of my dick. Every time I pee, it's fire. Just no. So you have a burning sensation when you urinate? No, fire comes out of my dick. Like that's the only fucking part of that whole thing I can remember. It's fire comes out of my dick.
Steve makes a good point, actually, and we should talk about that next week. The number of Hot Wheels we find in anuses will astonish you. Why? Okay, yes, I want to know about that. I want to know about why people are putting other things that aren't sex toys in their butts. Like, I want to know.
We are going to ask you put a book
or vegetables. I mean, I guess
put
vegetables.
Post-it note next to that because we need to ask her that.
I want to know.
You just gave me an idea for another, like a companion episode that we can do with this, because I know a radiologist and I'm going to ask her if she will come on and talk about all the weird shit she's found. And if she's allowed to do that. Cause like, as long as she's not telling people who they are, it should be fine. Right.
I want to know.
Yeah. And she's got like radiologist friends. I think this could be a good idea. I'm going to send her a message as soon as we're done here. And okay, so that's next week. And I think that we are all good to go. So we told you uhstudios.com. The email address, if you want to send us a sex question, is hero@uhstudios.com. Hit us up on Facebook, but don't send your questions there. It's we changed it now, so double check your links and stuff because it's it's facebook.com/uhstudios now. So we're trying to get everything to be UH Studios so that you guys can find us more easily. Instagram is UH Studios Official. Laurie is there. You can find her by probably just fucking searching her name. You won't find me because everybody has my name. There's literally like 5 other ones, Sarah White's, and at least one other Sarah L. White. I'm an L. I'm Sarah L. White. There's at least one of those in this fucking county, in my county. So yeah, you're never gonna find me. So just ask the UH Studios Facebook page if you want to contact me directly, because that's the only way you're gonna find me. That's it, right? I think. Oh, merch store. Go to our merch store, tpublic.com/store/UH Studios. You can get the UH Studio shirt and the one with Laurie's muscle picture.
My logo,
which was amazing, and you should at least go look at it if you don't want to buy it, but you're going to want to buy it when you see it. And then there's a bunch of other cool shit on there that you should look at and buy for us. So support your favorite indie comic artists. But yeah, I think that's it. Are we good? Did we get everything?
Yeah, thank you guys for coming and listening to us complain about Daniel and Evil Hasselhoff and all that stuff.
Evil Hasselhoff. I don't know why I never came up with that myself before. I just feel really stupid for not, because he totally is Evil Hasselhoff. Fucking what? All right. Have a wonderful nocturne, everybody. And we shall see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a good night.